You've done the healing. You've walked through the long, winding corridors of your own pain, sometimes feeling like you'd never find the exit. You've sat with your memories, letting the ache wash over you, and allowed yourself to feel every ounce of sorrow and loss. You've cried the tears that seemed endless. Let them fall in the quiet safety of your own space. You've sat in silence, holding your broken heart, feeling the weight of every disappointment and betrayal. And somehow, with trembling hands, you've picked up every shattered piece of yourself, even when it felt impossible. But then, when the world is quiet and darkness settles in, you find yourself lying awake, your mind racing with questions. There's that persistent whisper, soft but relentless, asking, what if I attract the same kind of relationship again? What if I haven't changed enough? You feel exposed, vulnerable, as if the night itself can see your fears. But even in those moments, remember, you are not the same person you once were. You are healing, growing, and learning to trust yourself again. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to wonder. Just don't forget how far you've come. The fear of repeating old patterns is real, and it can feel overwhelming at times. It's a valid fear, one that sits heavy in your chest, especially when you've been hurt before. When your last relationship left scars, some visible, most hidden, you're still learning to name the pain, to understand where it comes from. Sometimes it's hard to trust yourself, to believe you won't fall into the same traps again. Maybe it was emotional neglect, those moments when your needs were dismissed, your feelings minimized, or manipulation, carefully disguised as love, making you question your own reality. The confusion, the self-doubt, the ache of wondering if you're asking for too much. And then there's the pain of being chosen last, over and over again. The sting of being overlooked, of feeling invisible, of wondering if you'll ever be someone's first choice. It's a loneliness that lingers, even in a crowded room. But even in the midst of all this pain, there's hope. The cycle can be broken. With every step toward healing, every moment of self-reflection, you move closer to the love you truly deserve. You are not defined by your past. You have the power to choose differently, to choose love that heals. If you find yourself hesitating, pausing before you trust, or questioning your own feelings, know that you are not alone. You're not crazy for being cautious. In fact, your caution is a quiet wisdom, a gentle reminder that your heart has learned from the past. It's okay to move slowly, to listen to the small voice inside that wants to keep you safe. You're not weak for wondering, for replaying old memories or asking yourself if you're ready. You're human. Every question, every doubt, is a sign that you care deeply about your own well-being. It's a sign that you want to choose love that heals, not love that hurts. And this fear you feel, it's not a sign that you haven't healed. It's not proof that you're broken or that you're stuck in the past. Sometimes fear is simply your heart's way of protecting itself, of making sure you honor the journey you've already traveled. Healing isn't about never feeling afraid again. It's about learning to hold that fear with kindness, to let it guide you without letting it define you. So be gentle with yourself. Let your caution be a form of self-compassion, not self-judgment. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a sign that you care about what comes next. You are choosing every day to move forward with intention and hope. And that is something to be proud of. Healing is not just about letting go of the past. It's about reclaiming your power to choose differently, right now, in this moment. When you begin to heal, you realize that every day offers a new crossroads, a fresh opportunity to make choices that honor who you are becoming, not just who you have been. You are no longer the person who once accepted love that hurt or settled for less than you deserved. The version of you that tolerated pain, confusion, or neglect. That person has grown, learned, and changed. Now you get to choose from a place of wisdom and self-respect. You know what you need, maybe for the first time ever. You know the difference between being wanted and being valued, between being chosen and being cherished. You've learned to listen to your intuition, to trust the quiet voice inside that tells you when something feels right, or when it doesn't. You also know how it feels to live without the love you once thought you needed. You've survived the silence, the loneliness, the ache of letting go. And in that space, you discovered your own strength, your own company, your own peace. You're not desperate anymore, you're discerning. You no longer chase after love just to fill a void. Instead, you wait for what feels true, what feels safe, what feels like home. You know that your worth is not up for negotiation. Of course, fear might still visit you. The fear of repeating old patterns, of being hurt again, of making the wrong choice. Let the fear come. Let it remind you of how far you've come, but don't let it dictate your decisions. Let your standards stay higher than your fears. Remember, you are allowed to say no. You are allowed to wait for what feels right. You are allowed to protect your peace, even if it means standing alone for a while. Let your heart remember everything it survived. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every lesson, it all made you wiser, softer, stronger. You carry those memories not as burdens, but as reminders of your resilience. I trust myself to choose well. I trust myself to recognize red flags, to honor my boundaries, to walk away when something doesn't feel right. I trust myself to choose love that heals, not love that hurts. I am not defined by my past. My story is still being written, and I get to decide what comes next. I am free to choose love that feels safe, kind, and true. I attract what aligns with my worth. I am surrounded by people who see me, value me, and support my growth. I choose differently now because I know I deserve better and I am ready to receive it. The future of love begins within you, quietly, patiently, and with unwavering honesty. When you learn to love yourself deeply, fully, and fearlessly, something profound shifts inside. You stop settling for less than you deserve. You stop begging for scraps of affection or validation from those who cannot see your worth. You realize that your value is not determined by someone else's ability to recognize it. You stop shrinking yourself to fit inside someone else's narrow definition of love. Instead, you expand, growing into the fullness of who you are, embracing your quirks, your dreams, your boundaries. You learn that real love never asks you to become less, to hide your light, or to silence your truth. One day, when you least expect it, love will knock again, softly, patiently, with a gentle invitation. This time, you'll recognize it not by the rush of uncertainty, but by the calm it brings. You'll feel a quiet knowing, a sense of peace that settles deep in your bones. And this time, love won't come wrapped in confusion or mixed signals. It won't leave you questioning your worth or doubting your intuition. Instead, it will arrive with clarity, with warmth, and with a sense of belonging that feels both new and deeply familiar. This love will never ask you to prove yourself, to jump through hoops, or to abandon your needs. It will honor your boundaries, respect your journey, and celebrate your growth. You'll find freedom in being exactly who you are, without apology or pretense. This love will feel safe, like a soft place to land after a long journey. It will be kind, nurturing your spirit and encouraging your dreams. It will be true, built on honesty, trust, and mutual respect. You'll feel seen, heard, and cherished for all that you are. And you'll know, deep in your heart, that this love is different because you are different. You have grown, healed, and chosen yourself. The future of love is bright because it begins with you. There's a quiet power in realizing that your story isn't set in stone. The chapters that came before, filled with pain, mistakes, or patterns you wish you could erase, do not have to dictate the pages that come next. You are not doomed to repeat the past. In this very moment, you are holding the pen. You're rewriting the story, word by word, choice by choice. Every day you're faced with decisions, some small, some life-changing. Each time you choose to act with intention, to pause and reflect before reacting, you're breaking the cycle. One choice at a time, you're shaping a new narrative, one that honors your growth, your healing, and your hope for something better. Setting boundaries can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, especially if you've spent years letting others cross them. But each time you draw a line, no matter how small, you're telling yourself, I matter, my needs are important. One boundary at a time, you're building a life where you feel safe, respected, and whole. Healing isn't a single moment. It's a series of gentle, courageous steps. Some days, it's forgiving yourself for what you didn't know. Other days, it's celebrating the small victories, a kind word to yourself, a moment of peace, a glimmer of hope, one healed version of you at a time. You're becoming someone who chooses love, for yourself and for others, over and over again. And when that old fear creeps in, when the voice inside whispers, what if I attract the same kind of relationship again? Pause. Breathe. Remember how far you've come and all the ways you've already changed. You can whisper back with quiet confidence, I won't, because I am not the same. I am learning, growing, and choosing differently now. You are not bound to the choices you made when you didn't know better. You are free to choose again and again and again. This time, you'll choose with wisdom, with courage, and with love for yourself. Because you won't choose the same way again. If this message touched your heart, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need this reminder. You never know whose story you might help rewrite, just by sharing a little hope. Your heart deserves more than just survival. It deserves joy, peace, and love that heals. I'm cheering for you, every step of the way. This is your story now, and you get to write the ending. Thanks for watching.